Welcome to Lobby Talks. This is episode 6, Sustainability and QA. With me today, I have Carly McCanaman, our senior sales manager here at the Marriott.
Thanks for having me, Ray.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, my name is Ray Wilkins, operations manager here at the Tulsa Marriott Southern Hills. So, Carly, when we talk about sustainability, it's not just a simple yes or no kind of situation. There's quite a lot of thought that goes into it. So, let's break down sustainability to pre event, during, and after. How does that look?
Yeah, so if you are planning a sustainable event, it needs to begin from the onset, really. Sustainability in events looks like nothing in paper form on the desk at the event. Everything is digital. So that would begin from registration, digital registration, websites to share all the information instead of a paper handout or a post on a bulletin board. Um, Choosing a venue is very important when you want to prioritize sustainability in an event. You need to make sure that the venue will work with you to also achieve that goal. Marriott Tulsa Southern Hills is a perfect venue for a sustainable event because we're uniquely positioned here due to our location and our ease of access to public transportation. We also have a complimentary airport shuttle that helps to get guests from the airport to reduce the need of a rental or additional mileage of each individual ride in their car in. It also serves as a courtesy shuttle as well, help to reduce those miles in case someone needs to head to the grocery store.
So you would say that the venue needs to be set up as a sustainable, less carbon footprint, environmental kind of venue, and that really needs to align with our clients' needs. So it's important to have those things already in place.
Correct. Yes. And ideally, the building will have a tracking system or a way to track the negative impact of the event. So the water usage, the electric, all of those negative impact items that cause waste. And if you can track it, you can try to prevent it, or if not, at least offset it.
And that's very important. Now let's talk about not just the setup, but let's talk about during the event. Now you have nowadays there's a lot of focus on health and dietary restrictions and things like that, and everybody wants to be current with today's needs. So how does that kind of look when you have like a big catering function with 500 people and everybody's got something special they need done for their own personal health? How does that look?
Yeah, well, it's important to fulfill all those dietary restrictions, especially if there's an allergy of any type of severity. But also, it's becoming more popular for event planners to choose meatless options or more sustainable options because they are focused on producing an event that is sustainable. We have a variety of options for meatless options, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, even on our catering meals. So if you want to have an alternative, there's one available. If there isn't something on our traditional menu, our event services team, our culinary team, they're going to work to source something that you want for your event. Whether that means getting it from a more local vendor to reduce the mileage on that food, offering plant-based meat alternatives, or just reducing the overall ingredients of a meal or the location just to reduce, the waste and the product.
I love what you said about using local vendors, shopping locally. That's very important. We want to support our community. We want to support local businesses. So if we're able to give them that revenue to adhere to, I guess, our clients' needs, I love the fact that that is a forefront of our mind to do that.
It's true. I mean, buying locally, supporting locally helps the community. It helps sustainability measures and practices. I mean, often when you are hunting for sustainable practices or outlets, you're also getting the side effect of supporting local businesses, promoting efficiency. When you reduce waste, that's more efficient, that's more cost effective. So sustainability has these side effects. And it's not just about being sustainable because it's on trend, what your company promotes, because it's what you want for your event, but it's also efficient.
That's true. And now we know that hotels have a lot of go green options for the guest rooms in addition to your client spaces. So I do know that some hotels do the opt out of housekeeping. There's some types of rewards for that with those individual companies' loyalty programs. There's also the water uh, reducing of the water usage for cleaning linen, so unnecessary of taking towels and sheets if you don't need them clean. They'll That stops the extra use of water and supply and chemicals to clean the linens. So that's very important too. But what are we talking about when we talk about after an event is over? How does the sustainability continue? Because it doesn't just stop after they get here.
Yes, I mean it's throughout the whole journey. I think you touched on that a little bit. From the moment a guest walks in, I mean, they can walk into our property and never even stop at the front desk, never get a physical key in a piece of paper. They can get that key right on their phone. They can get that receipt right on their phone. They can, call to get a shuttle booking right on their phone. No paper involved, nothing like that. And then there's also the amenities that are inside of the room. We want luxury amenities, but it doesn't mean they need to be in single-use plastic containers, right? We can provide a nice shampoo, body wash, conditioner in a reusable container for all of our guests and reduce that footprint of it. I want to touch base a little bit on what you said about post-event, because it is all the way through that guest journey from arrival to departure to you got the bill, you're reviewing the notes, you're seeing how successful your event was, you're tracking the metrics, and we can actually here at our property provide you a report to show you this is the water that was unfortunately wasted. This is the power that it took to run your event. This is, the total picture of the impact of your meeting. So then what do you do with that information? You can choose to plan better next time, or even purchase carbon credits to offset that event after the fact.
I didn't know we could do that.
Yeah,
That's
ask your
pretty
sales
amazing.
manager.
Ask your sales
Yeah.
manager. That's the key. When in doubt, ask your sales manager. I love that.
Right? So true. If
So-
you don't ask, you don't know.
Exactly. Closed mouth don't get fed.
Yep, that's
That's
how
what
it
I was
is.
always raised to believe. So I think now we're going to talk a little bit about QA and kind of what that looks like and how that entails.
Yeah, and I really want to pick your brain on this subject. I know I have, a background in operations,
Yes,
and
you
I've been
do.
through a few QAs myself, but I'm sure you have some good stories as our front office manager
Oh,
and
Lord.
been in operations for quite some time
Twice
now.
10 years.
One thing for you, whenever you're talking and you're looking at her, try to still talk to the mic.
Okay.
Perfect.
Got it. Okay. So I've been in operations for 10 years, 10 very long, wonderful years. And I've worked for different brands. So I have kind of gotten the full scope of what most major brand hotels look for in their audit when they're looking for a brand standards or QA. And 9 times out of the 10, it's the same thing. They want to make sure our guests are taken care of with top of the line quality products. They want to make sure it's unique to that property or that specific tier that property's at. So like we're a full service property, we're considered a premium. So premium brand hotels have certain brands of like shampoos and linens and the types of pillows we can use, even down to what kind of drinks we can sell in the gift shop. Everything has a standard for it, and it's very important that we adhere to Marriott standards, because we want to be in compliance with what they're doing, because we're working under their franchise. But we also want to make sure we're giving guests quality choices in what they're doing and where they stay. And when they remember, I stayed at the Marriott, had the best night's sleep of my life because I knew that mattress was wonderful, that pillow was comfortable, the sheets were clean and fresh, they didn't have stains on it. All these things are what the guests experience and what they remember. And it's really important that we are adhering to those standards, because Marriott does not spare a dime when it comes to the quality that it takes to put a good night's sleep together for our guests.
Yeah, I think you touched on a really good point there, that these standards are developed for the guests with the guests in mind so they know what to expect. And each individual brand or tier of hotel is going to be different because it's contextual. It depends on what amenities they have, what services they offer.
And I love that, different brands have different styles. So, you can go to a Marriott full service like us and get a wonderful customized experience based upon what you're needing. But then you can go to a limited service property and get maybe not the same thing you would have got with us, but it's a still value. The value of what you're getting is the same. The comfort, the peace of mind, knowing that Marriott has got your back.
Yes, I feel that myself as a traveler because I've been different types of travelers, right? Limited
Mhm.
service, full service. But I do want to get back on the topic of the actual audit because that sounds intense, right? We hear audit, it sounds scary.
Oh Lord! So yeah, the staff. It's my job to get the staff prepared and ready for that audit, and we do know generally around the time frame, but we never know exactly who or when they're coming. So we always have to be on our toes, always have to be prepared and ready. So there's a lot that goes into it. They grade us from everything on how did we talk to you? Did we say your name multiple times to make that impact that we know who you are? We want you to feel like you are our only guest that we're focusing on. So we want to make sure you feel that. We get graded on the type of food that we use. We get graded on the quality of our linens, from our towels to our sheets to the pool towels, which have to be different than the guest room towels, and everything in between, everything that you see in a hotel and a lot of that you don't see, we get graded on. So it's very important that every bit of that audit that we have to review carefully. We have to make sure we're using the right vendors. We have to make sure our staff is trained. Training is a very large part of it. Always training going on, always developing our team, always continuing their growth. Because when our staff are growing and succeeding at their job, we succeed as a team. And that's what makes us great. And as long as we're staying on top of everything that we know we're supposed to be doing, then there's no reason that we can't supersede our own expectations.
Wow, that's a lot of metrics to be graded on. I mean, I know it's all there, but when you list it out or if
Mhm.
you're reading through all of those standards, that's a lot. It's a
It is
lot
a
to be
thick
prepared on all of the time,
It is a
right?
very thick book
Yeah.
of what we have to do.
Yeah, but it's all important. It's about safety and standards and comfort, right?
Absolutely.
And not knowing when they're showing up to grade
Yeah.
you on it.
I won't say names, but there are brands out there that will tell you when their auditor is coming, and then there are brands that don't. So it's interesting to know what brand you work for will determine whether or not you know what type of audit to expect.
That's a good point. I mean, from a consumer point of view, I prefer a brand where you're getting a pop-up auditor. I
Mhm.
want to make sure those standards are in place all the time for every guest.
And every guest gets the same consistent experience.
Wow. So you're not preparing for an audit a week before.
Oh no, you're preparing for an audit all the time. I mean, it never stops. You're always checking on your staff, making sure that they're prepared. A very large part of it is this little piece right here, making sure your name tag's on. That is crucial. People need to know who we are and where we work, and that they know that we do work here. We're not just somebody who stole a vest and walking around. That we are legitimate employees, and it's important to make sure that every guest can know if they need anything. They know who they can ask for because they have our names printed right here on these lovely little
That's
badges.
step one, right?
That's a right.
So can you tell me what like specific service standard is very important for you and for your guests to always receive?
For me, the most important experience that I want my guests to feel is that they are never going to have to worry about whether or not they're going to get the experience that they know they get here. That it will be consistent every time. So that means our staff have to remember the same information that they always do when they're checking our guest in, making sure we ask for the important information, their name, their ID, method of payments. We want to make sure that the guests know that we have all the answers, or if we don't have the answers, but we can get the answers to them, that they can trust and rely on the staff's promise to do that and follow through. And if the unfortunate happens where a guest does experience a problem, that they can trust and believe that the staff is going to do everything that they can to take care of the guests and make sure that they don't have any other issues, or if unfortunately if they do, that the staff will be there to take care of them.
Wow, it sounds like you are spending many hours developing your staff and training them on these steps.
I don't think there's such a rule as being too prepared.
Yeah, that I couldn't agree more, right? You
Yes.
never know what's going to come at you in this industry, in a hotel, or even when you're traveling, you don't know what's going to happen, and you want the front desk to be that face, right?
Yeah.
That guide. Help me. I'm in a situation. My
I've
toilet's
always-
flooding.
Oh,
my
gosh.
my breakfast is a mess. Like, help.
And then that's the one thing about the front desk is I've always called it the hub of communication. It is the one place that doesn't matter what the problem is or who's responsible to take care of it, that the front desk is prepared to receive those calls, to take care of those, and to dispatch whoever it needs to be sent to resolve those issues. So it's very important that the front desk is very well versed in communication, following up with the guest and with our staff, and working with those leaders to make sure that they're known. These are issues that we're seeing. We want to prevent them from getting bigger or getting worse, anything like that.
Right, because when the auditor walks in, it's too late,
It's
right?
too late. Yeah. That 8:00 in the morning phone call. Hey, the auditor's here. Sends panic to everybody. So
It does, but the preparation has been happening, right?
Yes.
We've been laying the groundwork all year long.
oh yes.
And what does that look like? What is kind of the preparation work you have to do all year long before an audit besides development? Is there like a lot of paperwork involved?
Oh, there's a big book in my office that's full of the audit. So it's not just about the training. It's about having constant conversations, reminding each other. Because there's times we get busy, and sometimes when we get busy, we think it's okay to I'll get back to this, or it's okay I cut a little cord. No, consistency is key. Every time delivering the same experience to our guests, to making them feel, again, that sense of safety and knowing that they're at their home. They may not be at their home, but they're home, and we want to keep that feeling here with us. So we want our staff to constantly have that in their mind that we may be busy, but I need to still make sure Mrs. Smith has got her juice, because I know she likes apple juice. She doesn't like orange juice. But I know that Mr. Smith likes his coffee black, so I want to make sure I have his fresh coffee black ready to go. And things like that, making sure that our guests feel that experience is very important. So we have daily conversations with our staff. We have weekly follow-up meetings with our staff and our department heads to make sure that they're on top of anything that we're seeing. If we notice a guest comments that are coming through and saying, these things are starting to be noticed, we want to address this now, and follow up again the next week to make sure not only did we take care of it, but are there steps in place to prevent it from happening again. And then once a month, we go through everybody. We do a practice audit, pretending that we have a staff member who's the auditor, and seeing if they're going to give the exact same service that we expect them to give the guest.
Wow, I love that. A practice audit.
Mhm.
Role playing is important
Very much.
to making sure each guest is getting that same experience,
Yes.
right? But also a bespoke experience
Yeah.
too.
Exactly.
Well, Ray, we learned a lot from you about the brand service standards and all the hard work that goes into them. Thank you for sharing all of that.
No, I'm so glad to be here, and thank you for all your information and insight into sustainability, because it is crucial that we make sure we're taking care of our clients, especially when it comes to long-term sustainability. So thank you so much for being with us here today, and we'll see all of you guys on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in and learning how we're driving sustainability and ensuring quality here at our hotel. On the next episode, we'll explore jobs, careers, and growth in Tulsa's hospitality industry. What opportunities are out there and how the industry is evolving. Until then, thanks for checking in with us.